So we left Hampton and went to Sunbury, and in Sunbury we had a delightful few days fitting the toilet.
Yep, lots of fun.
And then we left Sunbury and we had one night in Walton by the Weir pub.
Yep.
And then yesterday we travelled from Walton
up to the Shepparton Marina.
And then instead of taking the Desborough Cut, we went the long way round, which was really nice.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful sunny day, unlike today.
Where it's starting to get all wet already.
And now we're in Weybridge, where we spent last night.
Yeah.
Yesterday Michael went to see Concorde at the Brooklands Museum.
Yep.
I didn't go.
I went to see Concorde, a tall boy bomb, another tall boy bomb, a third tall boy bomb, although that was a tall boy small bomb, and there was also a Grand Slam. Yeah.
So you never know what you're going to find. This here behind me, world's first place you can buy an airplane ticket.
And then today we've got 3 locks to do, and then we are heading towards Staines, and we're hoping to meet up with a fuel boat because we need fuel. And hopefully it's not going to rain, although...
It will.
Let's go.
All right.
So we've travelled down from Weybridge to Staines.
It wasn't that eventful.
We had 3 locks to go through.
Yeah, and the first lock
immediately.
was not really a problem at all.
There was no lockkeeper on duty, so we had to go for ourselves.
Yeah, and it was pretty simple. We went through on our own, but there was a bit of turbulence just because it turns out that on that particular lock, the hydraulic lock opens pretty quick.
Yeah, usually on these locks, it'll open a little bit and then you physically can't open it anymore.
You have to wait 2 minutes for it to cycle, and then you push it again, and then you push it again.
But the instructions say hold for 10 seconds, so I was like holding for 10 seconds, and it pretty much went all the way up. So
which meant the boat went all the way back.
And I was up on the controls, so
yeah,
I had to come running back when Michael
yodeled. But it was really no problem. And then up from there, really nice day. We passed Let It Be, our friend Guy. We didn't see him, but his boat was sitting there.
Our saviour from the Basingstoke.
From the Basingstoke, yeah. So that was kind of like, hey, look, there he is. You know, quite a nice stretch of curving water up through Chertsey.
Really quiet, not many boats about, like...
No, a few coming down, but not a lot, and it was pretty nice. Yeah.
And then we passed like a boatyard thing, and we noticed some women just about to take their day hire boat out. And then by the time we got to the next lock, they were catching up with us. Because it wasn't set. Someone had gone through ahead of us, and there was nothing coming down. So there was a few minutes while I set the lock. You know,
they jumped off. They got the boat over, and they were ready to come through with us, and pretty quickly got themselves a little organized. And so, you know, Joe got the doors open, and I pushed through, and they came in.
And there was we directed them to come behind us because there was another narrowboat waiting to come in. Which could have gone alongside both of us. Instead of the big crews that were waiting for the narrowboat to come in and then him coming in after, he just steamed into the back of the lock and blocking the narrowboat, so the narrowboat couldn't come in, so he then had some more up.
Yeah, and
so it was a bit silly.
We got to the top and then pulled over, stopped. Joe wanted to make some lunch, and I headed back to help close up the lock and
get ready for the poor...
Get ready for the poor guy who's coming through behind. So now I'm sort of volunteer lockkeeper helping those guys get through.
Yeah, this one, it's different. You hold it and then it opens a little bit and it won't let you open it anymore till after 2 minutes. So
yeah, and it has a similar problem closing, which was a little strange.
Yeah, doesn't need to close slowly, but it's probably safer. No,
I mean, it's a good idea because it goes up in sort of stages, and whereas the first lock had an extremely large amount of turbulence, this was really quite calm. And while I'm doing all of this, a familiar face rides up on a bicycle across the river, and he's like, Michael? And I'm like, hey, it's Guy, hi, how you doing? He goes over to see Joe, and I help them through, and then I notice that there's more boats coming up behind, so I can close up the lock.
Me and Guy just thought we'd lost him for the day.
Yeah.
Like, I thought you'd, like...
Just disappeared and
career
taken a
change.
job as lockkeeper.
Yeah. So
But
then,
eventually,
yeah, so we chatted to Guy for a while, and then he cycled off, and we...
had our lunch and started moving again, and it was beautiful. Another big, nice curve,
It was a lovely stretch.
section, and some great houses, and some lovely boats along the riverside, and just totally calm. And
then eventually we passed the boatyard where we'd actually got our boat pulled out and had the survey done before we'd even bought it, which just goes to show we've had this boat for 2 months, just under 2 months.
Just under 2 months.
We've been moving for 6 weeks.
And we're a couple of
We're like
100 feet from where we started, which is a little bit bizarre.
not making much progress. So then we had one more lock to do.
Yeah, and before the lock,
Just as we the lock's in sight, and we're just poodling up, and there's a lockkeeper on duty on this one, so that's good. And then out of Penton Hook Marina, this cruiser comes round the corner and kicks up this massive wake, and then I don't know why he needed to go so fast when all he was going to do was have to come to a halt by the lock, and it was almost like he saw us in the distance and was like, I need to get
I need to be in front of that one, so we just hold in.
But these locks are so big, it doesn't matter because all the boats can fit in.
Oh yeah, they're enormous.
Because then after us, 2 more narrow boats came through, but we all got in.
Yeah.
One of the narrow boats was a lovely old kind of not working style. It had an engine room anyway, mid boat, and it was really nice. And
Working boat style.
we liked its flat solar panels.
It was the one that had helped up the lock behind us, and there was another couple behind them. Everybody's nice, and I'd noticed a little bit of a weirdness with the prop. As we were going along, the boat just started feeling like it was dragging a bit to the side, and I'd spun the propeller in reverse to try and see if I could shift something off of it, and a little bit of something came off the back, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe I've cleared it. But then as we were going up in that lock, I see something hanging out underneath the prop, and I get down to look at it, and sure enough, there's something, looks like a plastic bag or something that's hanging off our prop. So, okay, this means it's going to be our kind of first real pull out the weed hatch. So everybody else heads out first. We pull over to the lock landing.
And they wish us luck for our trip down the weed hatch.
Everybody wishes us luck for the weed hatch. So I get the engine bay open, get the rubber mat off the back, and get the big steel hatch that covers the weed hatch up, and then unscrew the weed hatch, and Joe helps me lifting it off, and it's nice and clear. You can see down there. Sure enough, there's not just a sort of white plastic sack, although that's there. There's also a bit of actual rope and some fishing line and just a bunch of other things. Reef my hand down in as far as I can, and I get the rope off, and I start pulling the bag off, and this fish starts biting my hand. It just keeps trying to clean everything off my hand or something.
And I'm just on the towpath,
just kind of
finding it quite amusing because it does look like the weed hatch is giving birth to Michael.
Yeah. I'm just
he's got an arm out and his head out,
and this stupid fish keeps biting my. It's not like it doesn't hurt or anything. It's just like you can sort of feel something pulling at little parts of your arm, and you're like, oh, that's not quite right. Very quickly, I start finding that we're really actually pretty badly wound up. We've gotten some fisherman's entire gear wrapped around this thing. There's fish hooks, there's actual wire, and then a whole bunch of fishing line beneath that. I'm in there, and up until this point, everything's pretty good.
There was this rumble of thunder.
Oh, yeah, the rumble of thunder.
The ominous, threatening.
Where I'm just like, oh, good. And then these great big raindrops start falling straight in my ear. I'm lying on a massive conductor with my arm in a river. Perfect. And but with my hands on a piece of brass.
And then sure enough, the heavy rain started.
Yeah.
And I had been trying to keep you dry with an umbrella, and then all of a sudden it was just
It's just, you're just hiding out on the thing. I've got water coming in my ears. I get the last of it off, get the weed hatch closed, total downpour, close the rear gate, put the rubber thing on there, close the engine hatch, stops raining. Immediately stops raining. There's, and I'm just standing there soaked to the bone, every single square inch of me soaking, sopping wet. I finally got it all loose just as the heavens opened up a torrential downpour. Which lasted just long enough
to soak you to the skin.
To soak me to the skin. But also showed us that we needed to pull out the drain pipe cleaner because the two, what did he call them? Scupper holes? Anyway, the two idiot holes had clogged up and the thing was going to back up into the engine bay again. Engine bay's dry, propeller's freed, clogs gone, Michael soaked. So we continued on to Staines.
Yeah, we had arranged to meet a fuel boat because we hadn't filled up since we left.
Yeah,
and we
Thames diesel.
And we were getting a bit low. Yeah. Michael thought they might not take cards, which in hindsight, of course, they probably would, like their big purchases. Michael saw a place by the petrol station to drop me off, and there was like, what are those things called?
Slipway.
A slipway.
Well, it wasn't. It was actually a little stream of some sort.
Yeah.
But it looked like a slipway.
And there was all these swans and geese and ducks about, and he said there was one particular swan standing there, and he said, I'll just drop you where that swan is. And it was a really good place, except like the boat's inching forward and the swan's not moving, it's just kind of looking at me.
I even tried blasting the horn and he just sort of waddles like two steps forward.
But eventually he's out of the way enough, so I jump off, and of course the thing's covered in poo. So I like jump off and do a little skid, which could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah, I was like, oh no.
So I get the cash, get back on the boat, and then we meet up with this really nice guy on his fuel boat. And
yeah, Chris, and he...
It was really nice actually buying fuel from a working boat, and it was like a beautiful boat, a little puppy on board.
Pull up and toss him a rope, and he pulls us alongside, jumps over, fills up the fuel at the back. He told us where the next moorings were and everything, so we just...
Which was just under the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, we're right in the town centre. There's like supermarkets, there's like a whole shopping centre, yeah.
Apparently Ali G made it famous.
And yeah, we saw Guy again today, so he was giving us the
rundown of...
He was being
of the fame of Staines-upon-Thames.
And it rained all night, like it didn't stop raining till like 2 or 3 a.m. And then tomorrow we're off to Windsor.
Yeah, where we will hopefully
find tomorrow.
Okay, done art directing? Alright, now tell me what we're talking about.
I need a home. Help me. Help me.